Now, speaking of food, with us on 4FM today, we have Dale Pinnock. Dale, you're very welcome. Now, this is a fascinating book that you've written. It's on medicinal cookery, nature's edible pharmacy, you
medicinal
call
cookery.
it. Now, listen to me. Look, we all know what we have to do to eat well. We have to cut out the fat, cut out the sugar, cut out the processed foods and, eat well. I mean, is there any more to it than that?
Well, what I'm trying to show people is that there's a lot more to food than just a few nutrients. It's more than just fuel. There's actually quite a powerful cocktail of compounds in our food that, when used in the right way, can work as powerful medicines too.
What kind of foods? Are these superfoods that we hear
not
about
necessarily.
blueberries
It might be really
and broccoli and all that?
things. I mean, one that may surprise you is celery. You may think of celery as being probably the most boring, most innocuous food on the planet, not really good for much. It's actually a natural painkiller. There's a compound in celery called 3-N-butyl-phthalate, which does work as a painkiller. It doesn't last long. It's not as strong as taking like a headache tablet, but it does have a significant effect.
Well, for decades, centuries, eons, cultures have been taking medicine out of plants. I mean, the Chinese, of course, are masters at it.
Absolutely.
What kind of other foods now that we can buy on a day-to-day basis would you think are good for specific ailments?
Okay, a really good one for inflammation is ginger. Ginger is definitely one of the absolute kings of natural anti-inflammatories. The compounds in ginger that give it that really strong, spicy flavour and aroma actually work in a similar way to regular pharmaceutical anti-inflammatory drugs called COX-2 inhibitors. When the inflammatory response is switched on in the body, there's a series of chemical reactions that occur. What those compounds in ginger do is essentially get in the way of that process and stop it from going the full way.
And does it matter how you take it? Do you have to have it raw? Can you have it in a stir fry?
You can juice it, you can stir fry it, you can put it in soups, absolutely. Okay. Beetroot's another really interesting one. The purple pigment in beetroot called beta-cyanin, the thing that gives it that lingering colour, that can actually speed up certain detoxification pathways in the liver, so it's very good the morning after. Also, very high in nitrites. When we consume foods that are high in nitrites, the body converts it over into something called nitric oxide, which widens the blood vessels and takes blood pressure down.
Now, where are you on organic foods? Because, I mean, there's been a survey recently which showed that organic, they're actually not that different to regular food. And I think it came as a relief to a whole load of people to think, gosh, I don't have to put up with people, with this precious message about buying organic this and mud from farmers' markets and paying extra for it.
If you can do it, if you want to do it, if you can afford to do it, great. If it's between that and buying junk food, I would say just get regular vegetables. It doesn't make that much of a difference. With a lot of these kind of compounds that I'm talking about, they're going to be present anyway. There may be some variation in maybe like antioxidant level and things like that, but it's negligible. It's not enough to get really excited about.
Well, what a relief, and our pockets will be a bit healthier as well.
Absolutely.
Now, of course, your book doesn't involve just the science bit. There are recipes too. Tell us your favourite. I have to tell you now, my favourite is jelly with welly.
Jelly with welly.
I love the idea of it. What's in that?
Yeah, I mean, I used, in that, there's basically herbal infusions. There's things like echinacea and calendula brewed up like a tea to make a very, very strong tea, and then we're actually using that as the liquid portion to make jelly, and then put fresh fruits and stuff in it.
All right, so it tastes the same?
It tastes the same, yeah. Well, you do get the strong fruit flavour. You don't really taste the herbs that are in there. Okay. So it's just like having a jelly, just a really silly food. I think it's hard to take jelly seriously. I mean, it's just such a ridiculous, silly food. There's the fun element, but you're getting the medicinal things in as well.
Okay, and what's your own favourite recipe?
One of my favourites has to be the flu fighting soup.
Flu fighting soup. Well,
that
we're coming in. We've just heard Kathy give us the most dreadful weather news, so we're going to need flu fighting soup. What's in that now? What do we need to rush out and buy
lots and lots
today?
of ingredients. We've already spoke about ginger. That's quite prominent in there because obviously when you get a cold and flu, you get the bunged up sensation in the nose. That's actually inflammation of the mucous membranes that line the nose and sinuses. Ginger takes down that inflammation there. There's about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic in there, so it's probably not the best thing to have before a date, but garlic is a very, very powerful antiviral agent. The things that give garlic that strong aroma, those essential oils, the body can only remove them via the breath. As those oils move through the respiratory tract, it can actually kill viruses and pluck bacteria off the walls of the mucous membranes.
Oh, I see. Well,
so
that
it can
sounds
actually
very
help
strong.
to clear infection
Although
quite
I do
quickly.
know people who exude garlic through their pores in their skin. I've known a few of them in my time.
Yeah, well, the amount I eat, I'm surprised I don't do that. I mean, I do eat loads of it. Shiitake mushrooms are in there. Shiitake mushrooms contain a very powerful sugar, a type of sugar called a polysaccharide, which is known to increase white blood cell count. So there's more white blood cells in circulation to actually deal with infection. Also, goji berries And I know these things have been all over
we've heard about the goji berries.
Some of the
haven't
weird
we?
claims that are made to those, if you believe
If you ever
everything.
want to find out which ones are the goji berries, just go for the most expensive ones in the shop.
They're
because
coming
became
down now.
Very du jour for a while.
Yeah, they did. And the bizarre thing is they actually grow wild in the UK, in
Oh.
Suffolk, which is bizarre. But they, similar to the shiitake mushrooms, contain polysaccharides, stimulate white blood cell count. There's chili in there, which is decongestant. It's also a circulatory stimulant, and the main base of the soup is butternut squash. So it's like a vivid orange soup. It's sweet, it's spicy, it's lovely.
Lovely for the winter. Now, you recommend that people, if they're going to eat fruit at a meal time, that they eat it first. Why is that?
It's digested very, very quickly. If you eat fruit and it sits on top of a main meal, it can start to ferment some of the carbohydrates within the meal quite quickly, and it can make you feel very bloated and very sort of gassy and uncomfortable.
Okay. Now, some of the disorders, and you know, we have to be careful saying that food or diet can cure disorders where maybe the medical profession have failed to do it. And one of those things that certainly hits people in the winter is arthritis. And people who have arthritis are really, really suffer from it in their hands, in their feet.
Absolutely.
It's a terrible, terrible condition. So, Dale Pinnock, what is your recommendation for people who suffer from arthritis?
Suffer from arthritis. I mean, obviously, addressing the first point, what I say with these dishes, it's not deemed as an alternative for any kind of conventional medicine. It's a tool that people can use to incorporate into their own day-to-day life to play an active role in their own healthcare and healing.
Okay.
In the context of arthritis, ginger we've already spoken about for the inflammation. Chili, you can actually use it topically. Chili you can use directly on the affected area.
Just not put it near your eyes.
Just don't put it near your eyes. No,
I've had
absolutely.
that experience.
Yeah,
or never again.
Or if you get it on your tongue or something, it's pretty painful. When you apply it directly, it stimulates the nerve endings. In our nerve endings, we've got something called substance P. This is a chemical that's involved in carrying the pain messages from the affected area to the brain. The chemicals in chili, something called capsaicin, the thing that burns the tongue, that chemical stimulates the nerve endings to basically pump out loads and loads and loads of substance P, and all of a sudden it runs out of it. There's no substance P left, so it can't carry the pain message back to the brain. Again, it doesnn't last a long time. It's not like taking a very, very strong drug, but it's another thing that you can use on an
And are the
ongoing
hotter
basis.
chilies better than the big fat ones? You know,
The
tiny
smaller
little
ones, like the little bird eye
Scotch
ones.
bonnet. Yeah.
Oh, Scotch bonnet, those things are lethal. I wouldn't advise putting Scotch bonnets directly on the skin. It might glow red for a fortnight.
Or forget it's there and leave and go to do something else.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is really a way of eating yourself back to health. And is it particularly important in the winter time that we look after ourselves a tiny bit more than maybe we would when we have a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables available during the summer?
Absolutely. I mean, also there's a lot more opportunistic infections around. Our immune systems are going to be infected by lack of vitamin D. That's a really, really important thing to take into consideration. Sunlight does increase vitamin D production. We know that vitamin D directly influences what's going on with the immune system. So obviously we're more susceptible to getting ill. So just make use of the wonderful seasonal things that are around. I mean, we've got some amazing foods around at the minute, things like curly kale, all of the winter squashes and some of the spices. Some really powerful
Now, a
things
lot of the ingredients that you mention can be got in health food stores. But I mean, maybe if somebody would just went in and got a good vitamin supplement, would that not do the trick?
It can be part of the overall picture. Supplements should never be viewed as an alternative to a good diet, but they're very, very valuable tools in looking after your day-to-day health, and when prescribed in the right way by a relevant practitioner, they can also play a very, very important role in clinical management of certain things as well.
Okay, now you're staying in Dublin for a little while.
I am indeed.
You're doing some cookery demonstrations today.
I am,
now,
yes.
We've had the celebrity chef, the era of the celebrity chef. We mentioned Gordon Ramsay there.
Yeah.
Are you the new guru now for a different type of cooking or a different type of...
Possibly. I don't swear as
experience?
much as Gordon, no. Yeah, I've been doing some really interesting stuff with with the BBC and different bits and bobs. So I just really want to get the message out there that food, when you use it in the right way, can be a powerful medicine, and that's what I'm trying to achieve with these dates that I'm doing in Ireland as well. Just trying to put on events and switch people onto new ideas, really.
Okay, well, this is Sinead Ryan sitting in for Dave Harvey. I'm speaking to Dale Pinnock, and Dale will be at the Health Store in Dundrum Shopping Centre today at lunchtime, 1:30, and at the Hop Sack in Rathmines this evening from 6 to 9, and tomorrow in Nourish in Wicklow Street from 12:30. And he's going to be talking about nature's edible pharmacy. Now, Dale, any meat in this at all? I mean, any nice Chinese takeaways or a burger and chips?
I don't eat any meat myself. I do eat fish, but don't eat any other meat. So the recipes that I've created there don't include them. But they're the kind of recipes that you can easily add those things to if you wanted to.
Okay, right. Well, I want to remind people now of our competition, the whole